Alright, let's go ahead and talk about installation methods and types. So below you're going to see some following various methods to use when installing the Linux machine that you're going to be installing. So the first one we have is DVD and CD-ROM. Typically this isn't going to be used anymore. Instead we're going to use the following four more frequently. We have hard drive, we have NFS, which is network file share system, and then FTP, which is file transport protocol, and then HTTP, which is hypertext, which is going to be internet. And that's basically how we're going to install our image. Is we're going to go to the CentOS.org website and download the .iso file and install it from there. There's going to be two classes you can use. We can do the CentOS 7 GUI or the CentOS CLI. So with the GUI or graphical user interface, we're going to get this nice beautiful desktop. Or with the CLI, we can use that option as well. And that's awesome, guys, because that's actually where sysadmin lives and breathes. That's where we're going to do most of our work as a sysadmin. And you actually have a lot more control over this system. So let's go ahead and check out where to get this image from. Got our web browser here. So you're going to go to centos.org/download/. Once we're on here, we're going to go ahead and click on 8 because that's the most recent version available. We're going to go under ISO. We're going to click on this 8664 one. It's going to take us to this page. We'll click on the first one available. And you'll see a couple of ones here. Okay, we're going to click on this largest one here, the one that says DVD.iso. Your screen might be a little bit different when you click on it, and this may be shortened up and this may be in gigs. So just pick the largest one you see, which should be this DVD.iso one. Okay, we'll click on that. It'll download. It'll take some time depending on your download speed. Could take 10 minutes, could take an hour. Just give it time to download. Once we have that, we'll go ahead and go to our virtual box. We'll click New, and then it'll bring up the next screen. And we're going to type in CentOS, and you'll see it'll recognize that as a Red Hat product. We'll go ahead and leave it as Red Hat 64-bit here. We'll click Next. And again, I like to double the RAM. It tells you 8 gigs is going to be probably the recommended size of the hard disk. We'll probably do 10 gigs. We'll click Create a Virtual Hard Disk now. We'll do Create. Bring up that next screen for you. There we go. Let me move that up so you can see the whole thing. A little bit less. There we go. Alright. And on the screen, we're going to stick with VDI. We'll click Next. So like I said, minimum is going to be 8 gigs. We'll go ahead and give it 10 gigs. That should be plenty. And from there, it's going to take us back to the original screen. We're going to double click because it's going to ask us what image we want to boot from. So you see here, it has that original Ubuntu image. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to click on that, and you're going to search for where you stored your .iso image for CentOS. Mine happens to be on my desktop, so I'll go to my desktop and grab it from there. And I'll choose that one. And now we see we have the CentOS ISO image. So we'll click Start. We'll bring up this screen. Make sure that when you do this, guys, that you do the install option. So it's kind of tricky. It's not very obvious which option you're clicking. So I would go all the way down and then press all the way up to make sure you're on the Install CentOS Linux 8 option. So we'll hit Enter. We'll start booting up that machine. Now you'll notice your mouse kind of disappears on this one. Ubuntu, your mouse could flow in and out of VirtualBox, no problem. On CentOS, it actually captures your mouse inside of this VirtualBox. So to get out of that, you have to click right on your D-pad and then Control button. And now your mouse will be free to go back to your actual laptop or computer or desktop. So we'll go ahead and let that installer load up. Won't take too long. Alright, so once it's up, you go ahead and start selecting the options that you would like. And make the screen a little bit smaller so you guys can see the whole thing. A little bit less. A little bit less. Oops. Sorry, bear with me, guys. There we go. Now you should be able to see the whole thing. Okay. So I'm going to stick with English for my format. Pick whatever language you would like to do. We'll click Next or Continue. So from here we have Keyboard English, Language Support English, Time and Date. We're going to click on that. You're going to select the time zone you're in. I'm in the Midwest. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Central Standard Time. We'll click Done in the top left here. And you can change this to 24-hour format or AM, PM format. And you can change the date if you need to, but it should select all that for you. We'll click Done. We'll do installation source. We're not going to mess with anything on here. We'll just click Done. Soft selection. So this is where you can pick the different classes. So we talked about doing it with GUI or just minimal install, which is the command line interface. We'll go ahead and do the GUI. You'll notice some options on the side here you can pick as well. We're just going to do server with GUI, okay? So we'll click Done. And over here you see exclamation point. It's telling you automatic partition selected. We'll click on that. So this is where you can actually set up the partitions if you want. You can do custom, you can add your boot, swap, and others. I don't recommend doing that, guys. I recommend just letting it automatically do that for you, so it will be set up. You don't have to worry about it. But if you'd like to do it on yourself and actually set up the boot and the swap and all that, there are tutorials online that you can follow to do that. So we'll just leave it automatic here. We'll see KDump is enabled. We're going to actually disable that because it makes the installation process longer and we don't need it. So we'll disable it. We'll click on Network in Host Manager. We're just going to click this little button here to enable our network. So it's on now, and we'll click Done, top left here. And then the security policy, we don't need to worry about that. Nothing there that we need. So we'll go ahead and click Begin Installation. While this is installing, we can go ahead and set up our root account. So we'll click on Root. We'll set our root password. So I'm going to type in my password. You'll see there it says that it's strong password. So don't even try to guess it, guys. There's no way you're going to guess it. It's too strong of a password. No, I'm just kidding. You wouldn't be able to connect to my machine anyways unless our machines were connected on the same network. And then we can create our user. So I'm going to type in my full name. So this is similar to Ubuntu, where we type in our name, it creates a username for us. If you want to create a custom username, you can just click in this box, change it to wherever you like. We're going to go ahead and keep the option selected that says require a password to this user account. So we're going to type in a password again. All right, perfect. Tells us we have a strong, secure password. You can see that bar here, strong password. We'll click Done. And then we just have to wait for it to install, okay? So right now, guys, I would encourage you to go ahead and fast forward the video. This part's going to take a little time. Since we disabled KDump, it's going to go by a little bit faster, but it is still going to take some time since we picked that GUI option. If you pick the minimal option, this should go by pretty quick, actually, okay? And if you forgot to disable KDump, this is actually going to take a little bit longer, okay? So make sure you did disable KDump on that installation. If you want to stick around and keep me company while I wait for this install, you're more than welcome to. However, I'd recommend just go ahead and fast forwarding the video until the end of the installation here. Alright guys, hopefully you've been fast forwarding through this, but we should be getting close to the completion of this installation. Alright guys, so hopefully you fast forwarded to this part of the video so you didn't have to sit through all that, but we are ready now to reboot our system. Now when we click reboot, you're going to notice something happens. Give it a second here, but what's going to happen is it's actually going to ask you to install again. You're going to be a little confused here. You're going to be like, didn't I just install it? Don't fall into the trap of pressing install. What we're actually going to do is we're going to exit out of this. So we can go to File, Close, and power off the machine. We'll click OK. And then we're going to go back to our virtual machine, our home. Okay. What I need you to do is go ahead and click on your CentOS machine. Oops. We're going to click on, so we'll click on CentOS, then we're going to click on Settings. Okay. Let me pull up that screen for you. Make this smaller so you can actually see it. There we go. Alright, and on the settings screen here, what we're going to do is we're going to go to System. Okay. And then here on System, what we're going to do is we're going to uncheck floppy. Okay. We're going to click on optical, and then we're going to go to this little arrow here. We're going to click that up. We're going to click on hard disk. We're going to click the up arrow. And now what we have is we have the optical and hard disk are going to boot in this order. So first it'll try to boot from optical, and then it'll try to boot from the hard disk. So what was happening is it was trying to boot from a floppy that didn't exist. Okay, and so that's why I didn't see the installation. So now it should be booting in the correct order. So we'll go ahead and click OK in that bottom right corner that you can see down there. And I'll save the settings. Now we're back at our home screen here. Maybe a little bigger. There we go. And we'll double click on CentOS. Oh, actually, 1 second here. Looks like it's still trying to. Alright, give me 1 second, guys. Looks like it's still trying to boot from. Let's close that. Okay. Go to settings again. System. Okay, maybe. Now let's try it. There we go. Okay, now it's working. Let me show you guys the right screen here. Okay. So actually, while that's coming up, we put it in the wrong order. So on settings, you actually need to go to you need to put the hard disk first, and then optical image second, okay? And then it'll boot from the correct image. So now we got it loading up here. I'll show you that after it both loads up here. Perfect. So the last thing we gotta do here is we gotta click on the license. We need to accept it. So you can read the license. We'll go to this little box here, click select, say okay, I accept the license agreement, then we'll click done. And then we'll click finish configuration. And there you go. We have a functioning VM now. So we can click on that, log in our user. Now if you want to log into root on your machine, you would go to not listed, type in root, and then you would type in the root user password. And now you're logged in as root. Okay. Now guys, I don't really recommend doing this for right now. Once later on down the road you get used to sudo and all that and understand all the commands and privileges, you can do that. But for now, go ahead and log in as a regular user. It's going to take you through some things when we do log in. So we'll do English. Pick whatever language you prefer. We're going to turn off the location services. And we're ready to go. Okay. We'll pull up some tutorial videos for you. So it's very similar to Ubuntu. We have our start menu here, top left activities. And it'll pull up a very similar menu bar. We can search for things that we're looking for, such as some of those programs that we used before, calculator, LibreOffice calculator, things like that. Okay. Let me go ahead and turn this machine off. So we'll go to File, Close, Power off the machine. I'm going to show you what we should have done in the settings to make it boot correctly. So we should have gone to Settings, pull up settings screen for you. 1 second. Alright, there you go. You should have gone to settings system, and we had it in this order. We had optical disk and then hard disk. It should be hard disk first and then optical disk under settings and then system here. Okay. That's how it should be set up. Hard disk and then optical and then everything else unchecked. Okay, so that's how it should be set up. Alright, so you guys should have your lab set up now and we'll be able to actually demo some things on CentOS.